Xbox 360 came out 2 years after I did, in 2005, and the timing couldn't have been any better. With classics such as Call of Duty World at War, Far Cry 3, and BioShock, it's no wonder this system was the one to grab. One game, though, captivated me more than any other at the time, and that, of course, was Skyrim. Being the world at large's first experience in a true open-world game, Skyrim had to make a big impact, and oh boy did it. So without further ado, grab your Dawnbreaker and hire a carriage as we adventure the lands of Skyrim. Skyrim dropped during the beginnings of Game of Thrones, so the world was primed for what was to come. When I was 6, my cousin sold us her Xbox 360, and it came with 3 games: BioShock, Black Ops, and Skyrim. I wasn't allowed to play BioShock, and I was only allowed to play zombies and Call of Duty, so naturally, feeling the need for something new, I eventually opened up the Skyrim case. Before I even took the game out of that hard plastic, I was stunned. It came with a beautiful map of the land of Nirn. I opened it up and just stared. How could a game be this big? To this point in my life, I had barely been outside my hometown. This map's world is bigger than I thought my own was at the time. After a few minutes contemplating which hold I'd want to venture to first, I opened up the game, started a new file, and saw that iconic intro. Even today, with the introduction of mods that allow you to skip this long intro entirely, I still often load up the game and sit through that intro at the beginning of a new playthrough. Sure, it is nice to be able to start off right next to Whiterun, or even living in it, with a decent chunk of change, some adequate weapons and armor for the journey, but I feel like Skyrim needs that intro. Back when it was released, being into stuff like dragons, role-playing, and even gaming as a whole was nerdy and had a sort of stigma to it. Having the intro start off in what seems like such a grounded and accurate depiction of medieval trials lulls the player into a false sense of security. They've seen this type of thing in other games or read about it in history class. They know they're the main character, so they can't die, thus they figure they will have some sort of grand escape that brings infamy to their name. And while that's sort of the case here, Skyrim decides to deliver on that grand escape in the form of an ancient dragon named Alduin. He lets out massive roars and swoops down from the mountains beyond the city, landing on the watchtower at which your very execution would take place moments later, if not for him. Ironic if you know the story. Alduin opens up his mouth and lets out a fiery breath that begins scorching the town and her people. You stand up, being led by one of your captors to a safe haven. As you run toward your place of refuge, you are forced to make a choice. Stay with Hadvar, the man who almost had you executed for nothing, but now is the only one who stayed behind to help you up, or run away with Rowloff, a fellow prisoner who was on the carriage with you and spoke those iconic first words.
Hey, you're finally awake.
My dad always went with Hadvar, but being a fan of Star Wars, I had to choose the Revolution. As you venture through the barracks and underground happenings of a town now destroyed, you come across a cave exit. Maybe it's just because it was one of the first games I'd ever played, but this was mesmerizing for me. The holy glow of the hole in the wall excited me. It almost scared me. I had never played a game where I could go anywhere. I had only played zombies and Mario to this point, and I didn't know what to expect from this massive map I had seen when I opened the case up. As I stepped out into the world of Nirn for the first time, Skyrim welcomed me with open arms. As a kid, I had no idea what to do from here. I think I'd usually do the Golden Claw quest in Bleakfall Barrows, sell some stuff at Riverwood, try to pickpocket Sven and Alvor, then make my way to Whiterun and get killed by giants over and over, laughing maniacally as I flew hundreds of feet. After a while, I'd look at the map, but not in the game. No, I didn't know how to do that. So I would stare at the paper map and try to figure out where to go based on where I thought I was in comparison to Whiterun. Oftentimes, I'd get lost and end up wandering aimlessly, killing bandits and occasionally entering a dungeon. I had no idea what I was doing, didn't know what half the buttons did, and just had fun. Skyrim was never meant to be a game that keeps you super locked in because of the combat system or hooked by its story. It was meant to be a game you can play games in. Recently, I saw a video called Minecraft is Not a Game, and the creator said something about games as a whole that changed how I think about them completely. I have friends who don't play games on anything less than the hardest difficulty, and while the challenge of losing and learning to adapt to obstacles that the game throws at you is very engaging and can be tons of fun, it can also get very frustrating. One developing team said that the players optimize the fun out of games nowadays, which couldn't be more true. The idea of only using the meta build or running the same route every time has never been super captivating to me, and a game that forces you to do so, such as current Call of Duty games, starts to wear on me quickly. As I've grown up, I've noticed that I play a lot of the games that I used to, only differently. Back then, I would run through the levels as quickly as I could, defeating every foe and going for the highest score of most stars that I could. Now, I just enjoy my time in the game. I enjoy the walks between the epic battles and enjoy reading the little bits of lore the developers sprinkle across their worlds. Wandering the lands of Skyrim when those beautiful tones come in makes me loathe the time in my life when my eyes first viewed these lands. In that video about Minecraft, he talks about how a game, simply put, is just you trying to complete an objective. Skyrim gives the player the chance to do just about whatever they want. Want to get married? Go ahead. Trying to collect all the Daedric artifacts? Cool, just don't you dare kill the dog. Just want to listen to tunes and relax at the local inn? They've got that covered too. For the longest time, I didn't even know there was a main quest to Skyrim. I just like to collect quests, go on adventures, and get more powerful, and the game never punished me for doing so. Not once when I was a little 8-year-old did I get upset playing the game, and I still never do. Famously, or perhaps infamously, Todd Howard once said, "Do you see
It's like mountains, you can walk to the top of that mountain, so..."
When I was around 12 to 13, I heard that quote for the first time, and I tried it. Never had I attempted to reach the top of the 7,000 steps to reach the throne of the world, but when I realized I could do it if I wanted to, that became my new objective, my new goal, my new game. When I finally reached High Hrothgar, I just looked around. Not much you can do up here that isn't story related, so all I could do was look around. And it was beautiful. Even without mods and on an Xbox 360, this game wowed so many people and brought a sense of wonder and whimsy into their lives that they may have never experienced. Skyrim has so much grandeur and beauty to it, and it bestows such a godlike sense of responsibility to the player, but not once does it force you to take hold of it. Skyrim says, "Don't worry, we'll be here for you when you need us. We'll know you come back around." And they couldn't be more right. There's so much to do in this game that I can't help but glaze it. Sure, Morrowind was incredibly innovative, and Oblivion was equally, if not more appalling upon release than Skyrim, but I didn't grow up with them. Many people didn't, and not just because they're like me and they weren't born yet, but instead of because of what I mentioned earlier. No one was comfortable saying they were just a bit nerdy. Skyrim broke that mold. It opened up the world of nerd for all to come enjoy it, however they may please. Once you finally get all the side quests you've built up done and are ready to complete the game's main one, you realize just how much of this world goes completely unseen by it. Even multiple of the game's biggest communities are not in the main quest. You could do nothing but focus on completing your goal of beating Alduin and miss massive chunks of this game. I still find new stuff after a literal decade of playing it, and every time I think, wow, I wonder if there's still things no one's seen. No, not hidden assets or stories that were never found, just super small details that no one ever thought to take a second, closer look at. Todd Howard and his team put their all into this game, and it truly shows, however buggy it may be. And as you reach the end of the quest, you are sent on one of the most epic adventures I've ever been a part of. You board the back of a dragon who flies you to Skuldafn, a dragon-filled ruined temple. The battle inside the temple is much like any other Draugr catacombs you've come across previously, but outside these walls is a whole different story. Dragons fly overhead and perch on various surrounding ruins, breathing fire and frost on the sites below. You must battle your way through and kill the dragon priest blocking your entrance to Sovngarde. I remember one time being pinned down by up to 4 dragons, all relentlessly trying to send my ass to Sovngarde in a much different manner than I had hoped to. After finally pushing past all these fiery aerial foes and jumping into the portal, you are sent to the Nordic afterlife. The skies here are filled with auroras, and the fields are plentiful. Statues stare down at you as you make your way to Sun, the gatekeeper of Sovngarde. To enter, you must prove you are worthy by trial by combat. Defeating Sun in this head-to-head allows you to access the Great Hall and feast with the legends of old. But now is not the time, as Alduin, the World Eater, has breached into Sovngarde and intends to destroy the entire realm and go on to eat the world itself whole. You recruit the help of the fighters of old and venture into the plains to address the problem at hand. As you and the others use powerful shouts to bring him down, Alduin attempts to fight back with everything he's got. Arrows whiz by and swords clamber onto his scaly armor, bringing down the winged foe by any means necessary. And finally, the world can sleep again. The cosmic threat of Alduin has been defeated, and the world of Nirn is now entirely at your fingertips. You have saved the world. You have saved Skyrim. Now, it's time for Skyrim to save you. Thank you all for watching, and if you enjoyed, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you next time, as I've been Chumfa, and remember, it's all caps when you spell the man's name.